Welcome back to Elite Star Global, where voices become legends. What does it take for 3 human voices, just 3, to make an entire planet stop breathing? Not a stadium full of pyrotechnics. Not a billion-dollar production budget. Not a curated algorithm feeding you exactly what you already love. Just 3 voices. 3 men. 3 stories intertwined like the threads of something ancient and unbreakable. That is the miracle, and the mystery, of Il Volo. Piero Barone. Ignazio Boschetto. Gianluca Ginoble. 3 names that, over 15 extraordinary years, have come to mean something far bigger than music. They mean memory. They mean belonging. They mean the kind of beauty that arrives without warning and reshapes you from the inside. But here, in this moment, on the trembling edge of 2027, something is shifting. Something in the air around Il Volo feels different. More urgent. More electric. And if you have followed this trio across every stage, every heartbreak, every breathtaking high note, you already feel it. Today, we go deep. We look at where Il Volo has been, and we dare to look at what they are becoming. Rewind. Imagine the silence before a thunderstorm. There is a particular moment that fans who witnessed it still cannot fully explain. It was during a live performance. A night that began like any other, the orchestra assembled, the lights low, the anticipation humming through 30,000 seats like a living thing. And then Piero opened his mouth. What came out was not simply a note. It was a declaration. A sound so full, so round, so impossibly mature from a man who had carried this voice since adolescence, it cracked something open in the audience. You could see it on their faces. Mouths falling open. Hands moving instinctively to cover hearts. A woman in the 3rd row began to weep before a single word had been sung. Not from sadness. From recognition. As though her soul had remembered something it had been missing for years. That is the evolutionary signature of Il Volo heading into 2027. These are no longer the prodigies who startled us 15 years ago. These are artists who have lived, and it shows in every syllable. But let us be honest about something few dare to say out loud. The road to 2027 has not been paved in gold. Not exclusively. There is a specific, quiet pressure that shadows every artist who achieves the heights Il Volo has achieved, the pressure of expectation. The weight of being beloved. Of knowing that millions of people carry your voice inside them like something sacred, and that any deviation, any growth, any departure from the known could feel, to those people, like a loss. Gianluca has spoken, in rare reflective moments, about the tension between fidelity and freedom. Between honoring the classical tradition that formed him and daring to ask what happens when that tradition is pushed, not broken, not abandoned, but stretched towards something new. Ignazio, whose warmth has always been the emotional center of the trio, has navigated his own version of this journey. His voice, that burnished, honeyed tenor, has deepened in ways that feel almost biographical. As though every city he has stood in, every audience he has met, has added another layer to what he can express. This is the hidden struggle of Il Volo. Not conflict. Not crisis. Something more profound, the courage to evolve in front of the people who love you most. And then came the performance that changed everything. No announcement. No preparation. Just a night that arrived and refused to leave the memory. The trio stood together at center stage, Piero on the left, his baritone presence commanding, a force of gravity in a tailored suit. Ignazio at the center, radiating that irreducible warmth, the kind that reaches the back row and the last seat in the cheapest section. And Gianluca on the right, lean and electric, his tenor rising like something being released from the earth rather than produced by a human body. They sang a piece that had no business being as devastating as it was. The arrangement was unexpected, stripped back, breathing, allowing the silence between the notes to carry as much meaning as the notes themselves. The crowd, enormous and restless moments before, went utterly still. You could hear it. Not the music. The stillness. 30,000 people choosing, without coordination, without instruction, to stop moving. To stop existing in any way except as witnesses. That is not something you manufacture. That is something you earn over 15 years of absolute dedication. Because this is not just a story about three men and their voices. It is a story about you. About the woman in Sao Paulo who learned Italian because she wanted to understand every word they sang. The teenager in Mexico City who found her grief transformed into something she could survive because Ignazio's voice found her in the dark. The father in Rome who played Gianluca's recordings in the hospital room and watched his daughters breathing slow from panic to peace. Il Volo's fan community is not a fan base in the conventional sense. It is a living archive of transformation. Every city they have visited, Buenos Aires, Madrid, Tokyo, New York, Los Angeles, has left behind a generation of people who are quietly, permanently changed. When fans react to a new Il Volo release or a live clip, the comments that pour in are not the language of entertainment. They are the language of encounter. This song saved me. I played this at my mother's funeral and felt her there. I have heard this 40 times and it still makes me cry. That is legacy. That is the architecture of something that will outlast trends, outlast algorithms, outlast every cynical prediction about the shelf life of classical crossover music. What most audiences never see is the silence before the miracle. The hours before a concert, particularly one of the scale Il Volo has routinely commanded, are not glamorous. They are meditative, almost monastic. The warm-ups. The careful management of breath and body. The rituals that each member has developed, individually and collectively, that help them cross from the human world into the space where what they do becomes possible. Those who have witnessed it speak of a particular quality in the room when all three are preparing together. A mutual awareness. A calibration. As though three instruments are tuning not to a fixed external pitch but to each other, to a frequency that only exists when Piero, Ignazio, and Gianluca are in the same space, reaching toward the same purpose. This brotherhood, tested by years, by distance, by the relentless pressure of being world-class at something deeply demanding, has not weakened. It has calcified into something structural. It is the reason the harmonies they produce feel inevitable rather than rehearsed. The reason a single shared glance mid-song can shift the emotional temperature of an entire arena. Here is the truth about Il Volo heading into 2027. They are at the most dangerous and beautiful crossroads of their career. Dangerous because they have achieved something rare, genuine global permanence. And permanence always carries the temptation to stop moving. To settle inside what is known and beloved. To give audiences what they expect because what they expect is already extraordinary. Beautiful because all three members of Il Volo, now fully formed adults, no longer prodigies navigating a world that was not built for them, are asking bigger questions about their art. You can hear it in recent recordings. A willingness to sit inside and note longer. To allow the drama to build through restraint rather than power. To trust that what is held back can move an audience as profoundly as what is released. The future of operatic pop is not abstract. It is not theoretical. It has 3 faces, 3 voices, and 15 years of evidence. And if those voices continue to evolve as they have, with courage, with brotherhood, with the humility to keep learning from the tradition that formed them, then what comes next will be something even history will struggle to contain. Close your eyes for a moment. Wherever you are right now. Think about the first time an Il Volo song reached you. Not reached your ears, reached you. The moment before the melody arrived, you did not know you needed it. And then it came. And something in your chest shifted. And for the duration of that song, 2 minutes, 4 minutes, however long, the ordinary weight of your life lifted slightly. You were somewhere else. Somewhere larger and quieter and more beautiful than where you had been. That is what Piero, Ignazio, and Gianluca have been doing for 15 years. That is what they are going to keep doing, in new ways, with new depth, carrying every lesson and every scar of the road they have traveled, as they move toward 2027 and beyond. The future of operatic pop is alive. It is standing on 3 sets of extraordinary lungs. And it has only just begun. If this story moved something in you, share it. Leave a comment with the Il Volo moment that changed your life. Subscribe to Elite Star Global for more cinematic stories about the voices that define our generation. And wherever you are in the world right now, thank you for being part of this journey.